Math Unmasked for Unit 6, Lesson 17. Today we are dealing with expressions. We have this expression in our homework, which is 1/3 d equals t. In this situation, d stands for distance and t stands for time. The math we do to the distance affects the time, right? And this isn't such a strange situation. If we walk a longer distance, we assume it would take us more time. So we're already used to those ideas being linked in our heads. We're being asked to identify the independent variable. And if you go back and look at our notes from today, we know the independent variable is the one that nothing's being done to it. It's just standing by itself. Okay. It talks about graphing the equation, right? So we can set this up with our t and our d both being points. We can even think about that t and d being an ordered pair, right? With this being the x-axis on a graph and this being the y-axis on a graph, okay? And then they're giving us some points that are in there, right? So they give us the 12 and the 4. So where would we put those so that it would make sense, right? So what they're asking us for number 2 is if we're looking at 12, 4, is the 12 the D or is the 12 the T? We have to make sure that we see where they fit them and then we're placing them on this table. Because they're linked, I can do some other things. So I am going to make D worth 21, okay? So that's one thing that I'm doing. I'm going to sub in that 21 for the D. And then when I do this math, I get 21/3, or 21 divided by 3 is 7. So when D is 21, T is 7, right? So when I need to generate several of these, and then I need to go ahead and graph it. And the graphing won't be done digitally. It will, of course, have to be done on paper. A couple of things that your graph needs, right? We need labels here so we can see whether this is time or distance, and labels here, so whether it's time or distance. Up to you which order you want to put on, but it has to be labeled so your teachers know. We need a title, and then we need to put that on. This is going to be a straight line when you graph it. So like all of the points, if you generated a table, should all be on one straight line. If you have a point that's not, it probably represents a mathematical error on your part, okay? And then our last question is, what point would represent the time it took to walk 7.5 miles? So, right, we would have to circle and or label that point on our graph. All right, you can go back through our student materials. You can take a look at the Mr. Morgan Math Help video or the Khan Academy stuff if you need additional help with this. Good luck.